자, 그러면 11월 29일 화요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
The Korean national team lost 3-2 to Ghana on Monday in their second Group H match of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar.
한국 대표팀은 어제 카타르에서 열린 가나와의 2022 카타르 월드컵 조별리그 H조 2차전에서 2대3으로 아쉽게 패했습니다.
Financial regulators in Korea are mulling over changes to the dividend-paying process so that investors know the amount of dividends they would receive before purchasing stocks.
금융당국은 주식시장 상장사의 배당금 규모를 먼저 확인한 뒤 투자 여부를 결정하는 방식으로 배당제도를 개편한다고 밝혔습니다.
Protests have erupted in China in an unprecedented show of dissent against Chinese President Xi Jinping's zero-COVID strategy, with some protesters daring to openly call for his removal.
중국에서 제로 코로나 정책에 반대하는 시위가 확산하고 있으며 일부 시위대는 시진핑 중국 국가주석의 퇴진까지 요구하고 있다고 외신이 전했습니다.
U.S. Republican Mike Turner has said there is no need to pass hefty Democrat bills to help Ukraine, adding that the incoming Republican majority in the House will spend less money to fund Kyiv's war against Russia.
미국 공화당 마이크 터너 하원 의원은 우크라이나 지원을 위한 민주당의 거대한 예산을 통과시킬 필요가 없다며 앞으로 공화당이 과반을 차지한 하원에서는 우크라이나 지원을 위한 예산을 줄일 것이라고 말했습니다.
The niece of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Farida Moradkhani, has been arrested after calling on foreign governments to cut all ties with the Iranian government.
이란의 최고 지도자 알리 하메네이의 조카 파리데 모라드하니가 외국 정부들의 이란과의 관계 단절을 촉구한 영상을 게재한 후 체포됐습니다.
Legendary singer-songwriter Bob Dylan has issued a public statement to apologize for his error in judgment amid controversy over selling machine-signed art and books that had been advertised as special hand-signed editions.
전설적인 싱어송라이터 밥 딜런이 최근 발간한 에세이집 한정판에 자필이 아닌 기계를 사용해 서명한 것을 시인하며 공개적으로 사과했습니다. And those have been today's morning headlines. Morning headline expressions. From the headlines today, let's have a look at our key expressions. In sports, when you say you lost to another team, that is the expression you use, basically. Lose to a.
Yep, lose to or beat. So you would say, I think we will win. I think we will lose. Right? Or we are going to win. I hope we're going to win.
I hope we're going to win. I hope we're going to beat Portugal.
And then after the game, then you would say you either beat that team or you lost to that team, and then you say the score. So in English, you always say the bigger number first.
That's really interesting as well. 네, 영어로는요. 패했을 때는 lose to, 그리고 이겼을 때는 beat를 씁니다. 그리고 그 점수는요. 큰 숫자부터 나온다는 거. 영어식으로는요. Whether you're talking about losing or beating and your opponent, you still say the larger number first.
Right. So
interesting.
So Korea lost 3-2 to Ghana. Ghana beat Korea 3-2.
아하. Korea lost 3-2 점수를 먼저 말하고요. 그 다음에 to Ghana 이렇게 표현을 하면 되겠네요. The second one was to mull over something.
Right, I'm mulling over how to even explain this word.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, you think for a long time. I thought about it last night. I guess I mulled it over a little bit. So when you mull something over, it's usually a fairly big decision, right? You're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to make a big change.
Yep.
In this case, you can see this is a huge change that Korean financial regulators are considering. So you got to think about it for a long time. You really got to mull it over to make sure you get it right.
Mull something over. 곰곰이 생각하는 겁니다. In this case, of course, financial regulators have submitted a proposal and they're hoping it will be set in concrete before the end of the year. So when we say they're mulling over changes, it's more than that, really. They're not just thinking about it. They have submitted a proposal
Exactly.
for this.
And they've been thinking about it for a
They
long
have,
time, obviously,
yeah.
right?
Yes, indeed. Now, the next expression was removal.
Removal can have a few different meanings, right? So like in our studio here, there's a huge piano over there, right? So if we were like, oh, the removal of the piano, it would be taken out of the studio. I don't know
Right.
how, but it would happen.
It would happen, yeah.
In this case, we
It
were
has
talking...
wheels.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Shows what I know about pianos. So anyways, in this story we were talking about, we were talking about the protests in China and how some very daring protesters
It's
were
not
openly
easy to do
calling
this.
for the removal of Xi Jinping.
Yep.
If we talk about the removal of someone from their job, it means they lose their job.
물건을 remove 하면은 이제 옮기는 거죠. 없애는 거. 그렇지만 사람에 대해서 remove를 썼을 때는 퇴진 아니면 해고 이런 의미가 될 수 있습니다. In China, some protesters have been calling for the removal of their leader, the president.
And usually if you talk about, like in this case, a president's removal, the president doesn't want to quit,
No.
right? They don't want to resign, so it would mean they would be forcibly removed from office by other authorities.
그렇죠. 퇴진을 요구하고 있다. Some people are openly calling for the removal of Xi. Now, the next expression was the incoming Republican majority.
Right, so they are not in the job yet, but we know they will have that job very, very soon. So it's incoming.
Yeah, and you see this a lot with president
Sure.
or incoming government.
Yeah, incoming flights.
Incoming flight. Oh, yeah, that's
You might
true
see
as well,
that
yeah.
at the airport.
착륙하는 이제 비행기에 관해서도 incoming flight라고 얘기를 할 수도 있고요. 이제 뭐 정부 아니면은 대통령이 곧 임기를 시작한다라고 할 때도 incoming, 오고 있다라는 뜻이에요. 그래서 Republican majority in the House라는 것은 미국 하원에서 이제 공화당이 과반을 차지한 그런 시스템으로 곧 시작이 된다 이런 느낌으로 보시면 되겠습니다. Call on someone.
Call on someone. It's used in this case, like calling on foreign governments or someone calls on the police to do something, whatever. It's when you publicly say what someone should do.
Yeah. To call on은 촉구한다라는 뜻인데요. 누구에게? To call on someone to do something. 이런 형태로 많이 씁니다. Apparently, the niece of the leader of Iran called on foreign governments to cut ties with the Iranian government.
Yeah, she sure did. Very publicly. It's on YouTube. I found it, so it's there.
And then in the final headline, we saw this expression, an error in judgment.
An error in judgment. So that's a phrase, right? You put it all together. It means you've made a mistake. And when you say, like, I made an error in judgment, you are sort of repenting for your mistake. You're admitting that it was a mistake. And it's usually one of those ones, if you say this phrase, you kind of look back on it and be like, why did I do that? Like, I know I shouldn't have done that. That was just a dumb mistake I made. I wouldn't do it again.
그래요. 판단 미스였습니다. 이런 식으로 표현하기도 하죠. 그래서 판단 착오라는 뜻으로 that was an error in judgment라고 합니다. 자, 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다.